Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi Lynn. Today is the day we are talking about decimated DC once again. As how can you gay up Superman more than texting in the bathtub? Now, this is a real page from DC Comics, and this is Jonathan Kent's Superman. And obviously, there's always been a love triangle going on. There's always been a little bit of romance with Superman, as he eyes and longs for Lois Lane. How would that look on paper if we're talking about gay or bisexual? I'm sorry, bisexual Jonathan Kent. And this is what it would look like. We're going to talk a little bit about this. But before we do, if you guys will, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, or ring the bell for notification.
Now, whoa. Let me point something out immediately. If his boyfriend over here is not a boyfriend but a girlfriend, you realize what people were saying, like, how dare you sexualize the female form? How dare you show a woman covered in sea bubbles texting her boyfriend in a comic book? Do you totally see that happening? Like,
Yeah.
that's totally gonna be a thing, right? So anyway, there is this very romantic texting happening between Jonathan and his boyfriend here, Jay. And they're saying things like, oh, I'm just gonna close my eyes and soak in that voice of yours. Okay, for people who are wondering, geez Louise, who wrote this dialogue, is Dan Parent, y'all. The guy very well known for working on Archie books. That's right, Archie, the whole thing with Archie, Veronica, and Betty. Yeah, that thing. He's got a fantastic track record as a romance writer. But this DC Comics Superman, do they need the whole romance angle really? Because after all, when I'm picking up a superhero book, I specifically want to see superheroism happening. I do not want to see romance and all that. I mean, a little bit here, a little bit there, kind of like the whole Catwoman and Batman, were he, won't she, that kind of thing happening maybe sometimes. But if it's the whole purpose of the book, is like, I'm sorry, why do you call it Batman? Why not call it Love Man or something? I think one reason why that there's this slow pivot into doing more and more diversity of the content in this book, specifically in the areas of romance and LGBTQIA representation in superhero comic books, has to do with the fact that DC is seeing success in other areas, and they're like, how do we replicate the success here? Now, DC is very well known for trying this webtoon comic called Batman Wayne Family Adventures. It's a slice of life webtoon comic about the shenanigans that the Bat family members get up into. There's basically no crime fighting. In a way, it's more about like fighting over cookies or Father's Day specials or that kind of thing. And look at how successful it is for DC. Over 100 million views, over 1.4 million readers. Like, wow, 1.4 million readers. Where can I get that kind of readership these days? Like, think about it. So they see this massive success over here. And they're probably thinking, we should probably bring some of these things in here. But that's not the only factor in getting DC to do the whole, hey, maybe we need to spread into the romance area with our superheroes. There's this interesting thing that's happening on Book Talk, which is TikTok, where they recommend books to each other. It looks like romance sales volumes reached nearly 90 million units, the leading growth category in 2022. Now think about it. Romance is pretty much the best-selling genre in all of the book market in the USA and in many parts of the world as well. So DC is probably looking at all this data and thinking, well, people are really eating up all this romance story when boy meets girl or boy meets boy or whatever. And we must replicate that in our books. And maybe we can pick up, I don't know, maybe just 1% of this 1.4 million readers. Just 1% would be fantastic. But I don't think that's working out the way they think, you see. Because like I said, the first thing over here you look at is superhero book romance. Superhero book romance. It's, they're kind of separate in a way.
Right. First, I have to point out, just being an artist, and again, this image is cropped, but if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, that would be Superman's holding his phone in the place of where his boyfriend's junk would be. I just got to point that out real quick. Anyways, despite the perversions here, I feel DC Comics, Marvel Comics, obviously doesn't respect the fan base that's built into the American comic book shop. And there's a difference in trying to drive to a comic book store and actually spend time and gas money and talk to people in the store, a type of community. Obviously, a lot of heterosexual men are in the comic book shops. I hate to say that. I know some people in the comment section are going to light up and say that's not true. Historically, we're here for action adventure comics, people in spandex. Sure, we can have some romance in there, but it's never really the driving force. in a superhero comic. It usually isn't. I mean, maybe with Rogue and Gambit predominantly, but there's still a lot of action. But still, that was their story, is their romantic problem, not being able to touch one another. But still surrounded by giant robots, fighting the Phoenix Force, whatever the hell they're doing in the X-Men. It's never been the driving factor of a comic. Exactly. I don't know what it is about the American comic book industry. They're always looking for the next big trend to pull in new readers while they run away their already base that they had. If you were catering to the base you used to have, you would have great sales and you wouldn't need to chase after these other demographics. And it's something me and Yanzi have talked about passing on hobbies. You brought this up.
Yeah, I mentioned this because I've been noticing that there are a lot of kids running around in Naruto t-shirts and costumes this year in our town. And it just really makes me wonder, well, a lot of them look way too young to be getting into anime and manga by themselves. So obviously the parents are the ones giving them this interest, this new hobby to get into. So how does that translate to the American comic book industry? Well, if the daddy and mommy are no longer walking to a comic book shop to buy comics, they are not nurturing the new generation of readers. If mommy and daddy isn't handing a kid a comic book of Superman and saying, I used to read that, they're not giving you a new Superman reader. If you lose the parents, you lose the next generation of readers. So for people who are complaining, like Ryan Higgins, who was saying, oh my gosh, the 40-year-old male readers I have are going to die out eventually. Yeah, they're going to die out. And there'll be no replacement because you are not even catering to the 40-year-old man to come into your store anymore.
I'm kind of caught up in that. And I see this and I'm like, whoever this applies to, are they going to pass this hobby on to another generation? And I'm not saying there's not room for gay representation in comics, but even if Superman in this issue was fighting Lex Luthor or a giant robot or whatever, this page would make me put the book down. I would not buy this book. Even if this was Lois and Clark, I would feel kind of skeezy looking at this.
I'll tell you what the problem is over here. Imagine you're flipping through, oh, there's Brainiac and Superman punching each other. Suddenly you turn yourself to this page and like, wait, what? You see what this page does, right? It takes you out of the story.
Right. I really feel like comics needs to start catering to the demographic that made them great. Marvel Comics is selling a lot of omnibus. DC Comics are going back, selling a lot of high-end collectible versions of past work. Replicate the past work, gain your audience back, let your audience go on and pass it on to their children as a hobby. At this point, there is going to be a demographic that's leaving comic shops. We're seeing sales go down, shops closing down. They're not going to pass this on to their children because they're giving up on it. So, anyways, just want to get you guys' thoughts on that. If you will, leave us a comment down below. Also, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. And also, Axcend level up $103,000. If you guys will, please go check out this campaign today. I'll leave you guys with a trailer for this smash hit comic coming to you from 9 Lives Comics.
I dream of a world carefully crafted, beautifully flawed. This is Axcend. In this game of life, there is one thing that determines a victor. A player's ability to grow. A player's ability to evolve. A player's ability to survive. My name is Dog. Choose to play. Choose to upgrade. Choose to level up. Choose to Axcend.